Alright, hey everyone, it's TVC Mario, and you're here for a video I wanted to make to respond to atheist YouTuber JaclynGlenn. She just went ahead and posted this video, Guns and Religion Kill People, so I absolutely needed to go ahead and respond to it. This isn't accurate at all, not even close. Guns and religion don't kill people. Well, wait a minute, let me define something. True religion doesn't kill anyone. And I'm going to show you that without a shadow of a doubt in today's video. But false religion is responsible for the death of millions of people. But false religion is never what Jesus Christ himself taught. And a true follower of Jesus Christ, a Christian, the word Christian means follows after Christ, will follow the path of true religion, which doesn't kill anyone. And also, guns aren't responsible for the death of anyone. It's people behind the guns. The guns are neutral. But anyways, I won't get too deep into it. We're going to talk about this and just debunk and refute what she said in her video. She made it in response to the events that have been occurring. Very sad events that are happening. Everyone's kind of been taken back. There's the events with another YouTuber, well known, especially in the Christian community. I'm sure many of you are subs. Very, very sad. We lost Christina Grimmie, and she's no longer here, so that's a very sad thing. And the story is that she was killed by a crazed fan with a gun. So yet another way to just demonize guns. And here we have again in Orlando, the nightclub shooting. So this is what she's responding to. It's just that I don't believe the response is very accurate. Like I said, she says that now we need more gun restrictions. And I'm telling you, that's not what we need at all. That's the last thing that America needs. And also she attacks religion, but she's unable to distinguish true religion from false religion, so she throws out the baby with the bathwater. So I want to clarify that all for you. She also, just to let you know, twists the interpretation of the Old Testament to make Christians out to be legalistic, false, self-righteous, and it's not true. But anyways, I'll debunk that all. Let's get right into this. Now, the first thing that I want to point out, I actually agree with some of the statements that were made. She went ahead and shared a clip of Pastor Steven Anderson and a pastor associated to his ministry as well, and their response to what just transpired. And, you know, I hate to say this, I know many Christians won't agree with this, but unfortunately, guys, this was an unloving response. If you haven't seen my video I did yesterday, Westboro Baptist, evil satanic response to mass shooting exposed, you need to take the time to actually check this out. We need to make sure that our response to the events that are taking place in the world are biblical, okay? And I don't believe that this is biblical at all, okay? Because we see here in Luke chapter 9, verses 54 to 55, the disciples were asking Jesus, okay, about a judgment. So check this out. And when his disciples James and John saw this, they said, "Lord, do you want us to command fire to come down from heaven and consume them, just as Elijah did?" But he turned and rebuked them and said, "You do not know what manner of spirit you are of." So you see here, the disciples were doing kind of like the Steven Anderson, okay, type of professing Christian, you know, just wanting God to bring judgment. You know, look, this is what they're saying. God, Jesus, can we command fire to come down from heaven? Fire coming down from heaven is a symbol of God's wrath and judgment. So in essence, what the disciples were asking Jesus Christ is, can we command God's judgment down? I mean, look, Jesus, they're sinners. This is right to do. Under God's law, this is right. And Jesus, look what he does. He rebukes them. And then he goes on to even say, you don't even know what manner of spirit you are of. Because when the Messiah came, we got into the new covenant. It's a new paradigm in following Christ. We are not in Israel. The Old Testament laws don't apply to us when it comes to governing the nation. They had laws that were given to them specifically for the governing of their nation, specifically stoning homosexuals. We do not need to do that. You're going to get thrown into jail if you go and do that. That was for them. There are things like that. So of course you have to understand these things, but they don't get this, okay? So you see, this is what's really, really happening here. You need to understand what manner of spirit you are. We're in the new covenant, and God is extending grace and mercy right now. That is the spirit, the manner of spirit that we are supposed to be of. Jesus' commands to us was to love our enemies, to pray for them. Okay, so let God judge them. We have a very short window of opportunity to love them, to let the light of Christ shine through us, the compassion, grace, they need that. They need to be brought into salvation, okay? And it's not going to come by condemning them and wanting to desire the wrath of God to come down like fire from heaven and rejoicing when they are consumed. Remember, God doesn't take any pleasure, okay, in what happens to the wicked when they are righteously judged. He takes no pleasure in that, neither should we. If our Father doesn't, why would we? That is wicked to do. That really does show the condition of the heart of that professing Christ follower, and the Bible clearly says we know them by their fruits. So just to say, guys, I don't agree with the response that we're seeing from people like Steven Anderson, the Westboro Baptists, who are rejoicing in this. This is not the spirit or the manner of spirit that we are supposed to be of. Okay, so I do unfortunately have to agree with Jaclyn on that point. Okay, but the thing is, see how this opportunity allows for everyone to be deceived. They see individuals like Steven Anderson, like the Westboro Baptists, and they get the wolf in sheep's clothing perspective. Okay, to kind of like mess up what Christianity is supposed to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and play a little clip here and comment on what she had to go and say.
Yeah, they feel that homosexuals are in some way pedophiles. I don't understand how that connection's even made. I really don't. If you want to worry about a certain demographic being a pedophile, then I would worry about Catholic priests, but you don't hear them saying that. Yeah.
Okay, so she goes ahead and talks about, because Steven Anderson was saying that they're pedophiles and stuff like that. I don't know if there's a link, okay, and where he's coming up with that. But again, there's a lot of hate coming from an individual like Steven Anderson, and it's not of God. So to call them out and call them pedophiles and all these things, you're never going to extend the love of God to them. You're never going to be able to, bring them to the gospel. You don't know if they have a reprobate mind. Only God knows that. You should be extending love and mercy to everyone. He said, love all of them. Extend Jesus to everyone. And let God be the judge of every single man, okay? Because he knows the intent of every single heart. He knows their thoughts. He knows everything, so let the judgment in his hands. But,
Traffic being a pedophile, then I would worry about Catholic priests. But
Catholic priest. Okay, so she goes on talking about the fact, I just wanted to throw that in there with the Catholics. You see, in the Bible, this is another form of the legalist, and individuals like Jaclyn are unable to distinguish them. In Jesus' day, it was the Pharisees, Sadducees, and the teachers of the law. They were the religious leaders of the Israel nation, and these would be the ones that would stone you, essentially, if you broke the law of Moses. And it's these religious political leaders of their time that Jesus actually confronted. He would go in the temples, exposing them in front of the masses and just calling them all sorts of things. He would call them hypocrites, sons of vipers, devils. He says, yeah, you look all good with your robes and all clean on the outside, but inside you are nothing but all things corrupt. Okay, so we see that the Catholic priests, many of them fall into the same spirit, the same false trap of misrepresenting what true Christianity actually is. Okay, so this is something, Jaclyn, and other atheists out there, that you need to be able to distinguish between true religion and false religion. And true religion is following Jesus Christ, okay? It's not following other people, and it's actually defined in James chapter 1, verse 27. Pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this. Okay, so here we see in the scriptures, we're actually going to get a biblical definition of what pure religion is. So don't look to people to define what religion is supposed to look like and be. Look to the scriptures themselves to define. And look what it says. to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world. Okay, so this is what it is. Do you have a problem with that? Do you think that pure religion, as defined right here, is responsible for any evil? If pure religion is, by definition, to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, and to keep ourselves unspotted from the negative, destructive, evil things of this world, so that we're pure-hearted, kind, generous, loving, self-controlled, tempered, etc., that's a bad thing? No, false religion is, and this is what false religion is, okay? It's when man uses religion, which is uses laws, rules, in order to control people in a man-made religious, quote-unquote, system. It's false religion. And Jesus was killed, in fact, by the false religious people of his day. It wasn't even the Romans, really. The Romans, he wiped his hands clean. Okay, he literally did not want Jesus's blood. It was these people who influenced the Israelites to vote Jesus to be crucified. Okay, and so this is something that needs to be distinguished and understood. So you need to understand when you're dealing with Christians that there are false ones, and Jesus taught that, and pure religion is following Jesus. And you think this Jesus would have a response to this like that? I don't think so at all, okay? I don't think he'd be rejoicing in any of this, okay? So let's take a look at the other clip now. I don't have too many today, just two of them that I wanted to point out.
And that is one thing that I do want to point out. A lot of people try to say that you're not a real Christian if you think the way that this guy thinks. And I don't want to use this video to put any more hate out into the world or negativity, but I do encourage everyone out there who is a Christian or who is a religious person to any degree to think about that for a second. And that,
of course, so that's definitely something to think about. Why does it say in the Old Testament that homosexuals were to be stoned? You need to understand context. When you're going to study the scriptures, that comes from the Torah. The Torah was given specifically to the Israelites for the governing of the Israelite nation in the time of the Old Testament. So those laws were actually given specifically to the Israelite people. What God was doing back in that day is revealing to mankind his righteous holiness. What we need to recognize is that God is so holy that any type of sin is not going to be tolerated by him. So to the Israel people, which he had chosen specifically to be his people among all the nations of the world, he was going to be a very strict father, giving them the laws that they needed to obey. One of the things also was to show them that no human was capable within themselves to fulfill the law, to be perfectly righteous, so that they actually needed a Messiah. The Old Testament points to the necessity of the Messiah in the New Testament, Jesus Christ, who became the fulfillment of everything that was prophesied by the prophets and the law in the Old Testament. So you need to understand these things, Jaclyn. And I mean, I'd love to have conversations with you, but if you're going to go on YouTube and be an atheist and you're going to go against a worldview, I mean, you literally need to study Christianity and actually be able to argue it correctly, and you're not able to do that. You need to sit down, do a Bible study on false religion, the Pharisees, the Sadducees of the law, the difference between true religion, how to distinguish Christians from the Messiah, okay? People who profess Christians versus actually studying the Messiah to find out what it would be like or look like to follow Christ. Instead of looking to people to know what it looks like, Jaclyn, to follow Christ, why aren't you looking to Christ himself? Block everyone out. Okay, this is what all of us have to do, in fact. A true Christ follower begins by doing this, in fact. He begins by following Jesus. Christian means Christ follower. So we fix our eyes on Jesus, not the people around us who claim to be Christian. And we learn and model ourselves after what we see him, his character. And he's beautiful. He's amazing. He is the perfect human being that ever lived, full of grace, full of compassion, full of love, truth, mercy. He's awesome. Okay, so that is what you need to start doing. Get your eyes off of people. Stop looking at Steven Anderson for what it looks like to be a Christ follower. Do you not understand that maybe he's not looking at the Messiah correctly? Okay, why don't you give it a shot? Make videos about what Jesus himself said that is so horrible. Love thy neighbor, you know. If someone asks you for the shirt off your back. Give them your tunic too. If someone slaps you on the left cheek, give them your right. Why don't you go after Jesus himself? Okay, if you're going to go after Christianity, which means to be a Christ follower, that would be more effective. But what you would actually run into is an amazing, amazing Son of God. And he would probably change your life if you opened yourself up, your heart and mind, to actually looking to him and not people. But anyways, that was a little bit of a sidetrack. I hope that helped you, Jaclyn, to understand what Christianity actually is. We don't look to people. We look to Jesus himself, and he's beautiful. He's awesome. He's better than Buddha and any avatar or spiritual teacher that's ever existed. He's the Messiah. He's the prophesied Messiah of mankind, and that is our model. And we do not hate homosexuals. We, in fact, right now are in a time of grace. God is extending mercy. His judgment is coming. There is a day where evil will consume the world to a point where God will have to come. The Bible says mankind, if left unto ourselves, would destroy this entire planet. Okay, so God's going to come and intervene one day and stop us from doing that. And then it'll be a righteous judgment. We will face him, and that's a good thing. Okay? And we don't get to create right or wrong. This world was created by him, and he created the rules that we need to submit to his authority to. Okay? So I hope this helps you, Jaclyn, and I hope this helps anyone out there. This isn't going to help us by, regulating the Second Amendment. You need to realize, Jaclyn, the point of the Second Amendment is to protect you, the people of America, from a tyrannical government. And I just want you, Jaclyn, to really sit back and think about this in a logical fashion. Jaclyn, do you not see the corporations have become so powerful they've overtaken government? And through lobbyists and different corrupt ways, they've overtaken government and probably have bought out all major politicians. And it's not a coincidence that the laws being passed right now actually favor the rich and not the poor. So the Second Amendment is actually in place to protect you from a government that would be bought out at like that and would seek eventually to take away your rights as a free citizen because it was actually taken over by the rich elite. That's what's happening. Okay, so there is a lot of stuff taking place. I'm not even going to get into the whole conspiracy going on to take away the Constitution, but that is taking place, and you can go ahead and research that. But just the logic behind it, you do not want to give the government all the power. That was the point of the United States of America. You guys are losing your minds. You're losing the foundation of what you're all about. You are all about your Constitution. The reason you're still free, the reason you're not like China, is because of your Constitution. Stop being brainwashed to hand it over, to regulate it. That makes no sense. It's awesome in itself. Okay? What's happening is not guns being the problem. It's a corrupt government who are staging PSY operations on one hand, and even if someone gets their hands on a gun, it's that person. It's not the gun itself. Think about it. If there's someone shooting a gun, who are they going to send in to help that situation? Other people with guns. So it makes no sense. Okay? It's not guns that are the problem. Okay, spoons aren't making people fat. We can go around and take away all the spoons. People are still going to get big. They're still going to eat. Okay, if you take away all the guns, people are still going to stab. Use a baseball bat. Find all sorts of different ways. If you want to kill, you're going to kill, period. Okay, nothing's going to stop you. The gun itself is neutral. In fact, the police are using it. The military is using it for good, quote unquote. Okay, so there's no logic in this and it makes no sense. So be on guard, be vigilant, Jaclyn. There's a corrupt, corporate, bought-out government that is trying to take away your freedoms, your liberties. They know they can't just come in and take away your guns. They have to socially, psychologically do operations of propaganda to make you hand them over yourself, like you're doing right now, so... There you have it, everyone. My response to JaclynGlenn's latest video. Have a blessed and wonderful day. Stay vigilant. Fear no evil.